Okay. I believe we are back online. Let me set up my counter. Alright. Here we are. Day 31. Day 31 of lottery. I could win a fabulous prize, everybody. 87517. Those are really good numbers. Those are bad numbers. Those are really good numbers. Did not care particularly over much for those numbers. Alright, we ended yesterday at 1669 Sinistea. Do you have a chip pot? Nope. Okay. So today, we're back at it. I guess I should put my Urshifu in the front of the party again. Let's get this tea. Alright, here we go. Oh, it's all the way over there. Yesterday, there were very, very few Sinistea. Way less than average. I went for an extra half hour to try to just find a few more. So today, I would really like to just see, you know, a normal number of Sinistea. That would be nice. Alright, well there's our first one. That puts us at 1670. You know, it's possible that we could get lucky enough to hit 1700 today. It would mean getting the most Sinistea we've ever seen. We'd have to find 31. But that's possible. Certainly possible. It's also possible that we just, you know, find the one thing we're looking for, and we don't have to do any hunting at all. We don't have to go all the way up to 1700. We can just stop. This could be the very last stream ever. The chef is so creepy. Yeah, it's a little disconcerting that he's, you know, watching the whole thing playing out right here, but I mean, I guess it's fine if this is where he decides to spend his days. I can't really critique him for that, because this is where I'm spending my days. I am moving. It's a little bit weird that he stands perfectly still and holds the ladle like that. Why is he so well lit? That's another perfectly valid question to ask. And the answer is that don't question the chef. The chef knows what he's doing. So, right as I was waking up about an hour ago, I was in the middle of a dream that I don't remember the exact details of, but I was like in the lobby of a movie theater with like a group of people that I did not know. It seemed like it almost felt like it was like a field trip for school. It was weird. But anyway, so I'm in this movie theater. I'm in the lobby for the movie. And as we're going in, we never got around to actually seeing the actual movie. But there was this one like kid who snuck in and like watched a scene ahead of time somehow. I don't know. I don't get how he saw a particular scene. Anyway, long story short, he comes out and he's like, this movie isn't like what we're thinking it's gonna be, based on this one scene. Which I'm like, alright, so this is gonna be, this movie is not the comedy that, I didn't even know what the movie was. Anyway, so we go in, and again, we never actually saw the movie, but this ad starts playing, and it's like the Muppets are talking in the ad, and it's just Kermit and Miss Piggy, and they're having some sort of conversation. And at this point, is where I like start waking up, and I'm like, oh, this is a dream. I'm kind of tired of this. I'm bored. I'm done. This is like, I'm like consciously coming up with what Kermit and Miss Piggy are gonna say next for the ad, and I'm like, all right, I'm bored. I should just wake up. So I wake up, and I'm sitting in my bed, and my vision is still kind of fuzzy. I'm like slowly, groggily opening my eyes, and I notice this weird, these weird red marks on my wall, like pretty faint. And I'm trying to like squint and like make out what it says, and I'm like looking at it on the wall, and it's like, I'm like, oh, these are letters, and then I'm like, it's like, oh god, it's not red marks, it's blood, and it says rescue, and I'm just like, why is the word rescue written on my wall in blood? And that's where I realized that I'm actually still dreaming, and that this is now set up for whatever this movie is gonna be. It's gonna be some sort of horror movie. And I'm like, nope, I'm done. Not interested in rescuing anything right now. Not interested in watching whatever this horror movie is that my brain has concocted. And I'm out. And then I actually woke up, and there was no writing on my wall, obviously. And that is my story about how I woke up today. It was just very strange, like that moment of being like, oh yeah, the dream is done now, and then the next moment of, oh, never mind, actually the dream is still continuing, and then it's, yeah, lots of realizations one after another. I'm kind of interested now in like seeing what that movie was going to end up being, but who knows? Also, I see that the stream is having some issues again right now. Hopefully it stabilizes. It was the chef. It's always the chef. Moral of the story, chef is watching. Don't mess with the chef. Not the weirdest dream I've ever had, but definitely in the category of other strange dreams that I've had, where I realized like, oh yes, I am actually still asleep. I have not woken up yet. This is fine. I had a dream like a year back. I fell asleep while listening to a podcast, and in the dream, the podcast kept playing, so like I was still, oops, nope, I did not mean to do that. Alright, well, we're just gonna kill this hatch arm real quick, I guess. I was like still listening to the podcast, and then I hit this moment where I was awake and fully aware of what the podcast was saying, but I couldn't move. I was like completely paralyzed. I couldn't open my eyes, but I could like hear the podcast and like listen to exactly what they were saying. And then I woke up and I rewound the podcast to be like, was my brain just making that up? And it wasn't. It was definitely, I was hearing it and rewound it and was like, yep, that's exactly what I just heard in my dream. I cannot lucid dream. A long time ago, when I was a kid, I used to have a form of lucid dreaming where I wasn't able to... and I might still be able to do this, but I just don't remember my dreams as well now as I did when I was a kid. But I change aspects of the dream itself. Like, I couldn't just look at a wall and decide that wall isn't there anymore. But I did always have, like, full control of my own actions. actions, and I would usually be aware that it was a dream. Like, I'd be like, oh yeah, this is a dream, I can just do what I want. And especially, I've always had the ability where if I want to wake up from a dream, I can. Like, oops, I should have knocked that Sinistea out. I'm distracted. Anyway, so I've never been able to lucid dream in the sense where you can just, like, determine everything that's going to happen, but I've always been able to have this more manipulation of my own actions within a dream, like deciding what I'm going to do and kind of being able to reason through what I'm going to do. And I've also had things where I'll have the same dream multiple times, and I will remember in the dream having that dream before and things that I did previously, and then I can consciously choose to do different things, and that changes the course of the dream, which is also interesting. And that, again, that's not for every single dream, and more recently in life I have not been able to do that as consistently. I am usually less aware that I am dreaming. And it's because I learned about lucid dreaming, and I started practicing techniques to try to improve the chances of being able to lucid dream, and I broke my brain. It was very annoying. I spent about a week, I was at a Spanish camp, and I spent about a week, like, trying to do these things, and I gave myself insomnia, and I've never recovered from it. And since then, I've always had insomnia, and it sucks. And I don't remember dreams as well anymore, and I literally, by trying consciously to, like, be able to have more control over my dreams, I completely lost any control that I used to have, and also my ability to sleep soundly. So that was a mistake. Rip. So yeah, if you want to try lucid dreaming, don't try too hard, because you can mess with your brain. I got so determined to, like, be awake, be conscious in my dreams, that I made it significantly harder for me to actually fall asleep. Like, my brain activity just would not stop at night, and it is very annoying. And specifically, during that 1 week, I actually did almost have a lucid dream. Basically, I was, like, dreaming, and then I realized it was a dream, and I got so excited that I just woke up. I was like, I finally did it, and then I just woke up. And that was, like, the moment where I, like, was aware that I was dreaming, but then got too excited about it and woke myself up. Like, that was the moment where then after that, I could not remember any dreams. Or many fewer dreams than I used to be able to remember. Yes, it was definitely too much sinister tea. The tea possessed me and took my life force, and now I cannot sleep. This is canon. There's another teacup. That's our fourth one, right? We're making our way to 31. Definitely gonna find 31 teacups. Catch the tea to break the curse. Then I'll be able to sleep again. No, the craziest dream that I ever had was close to a lucid dream. And this was after I was no longer able to sleep and no longer remembered dreams as frequently. But I don't know if you've watched Gravity Falls, but the main villain is Bill, and he's kind of like this creature from another dimension that seems to be able to break the rules of reality. And I had recently watched Gravity Falls, so I had this concept of like this reality-breaking character that can break the rules. And my brain took that character and did something else. So basically, I'm having this normal dream, you know, just kind of hanging out, sleeping. And I end up in like this kind of forested area with cabins and stuff. Again, probably fairly influenced by Gravity Falls, but it wasn't like there were any characters from Gravity Falls in it. And I'm in this kind of wooded cabin place, and I start realizing that I just feel this other presence, and I'm like, well, this is weird. I'm like clearly not alone here. And as I'm having this dream, I start realizing that like this is in fact a dream. And I think this is probably the closest to lucid dreaming that I've ever come. But it still wasn't a lucid dream because I had no control over my surroundings, and I realized that the presence that I was detecting was having the control of the surroundings. There was like some other thing in my dream that was controlling all of it, and I realized it was following me. And so at this point, I basically focused all of my attention in my dream on like imagining myself inside of some sort of bubble. I was like, alright, well, whatever this thing is that's following me, if it is in control of the dream, I don't want it to find me, because that seems bad. And so I focus, and I basically force the dream to build this bubble around me. And I'm like, I'm just going to be in the bubble, and I'm not going to deal with whatever is outside. And then I spent the rest of the dream being aware that it was a dream, but being unable to wake up, and being aware that there was something outside of this bubble that was like some other presence or consciousness or something. It was like just this very weird experience of being like, knowing it's a dream, being unable to wake up from it, being unable to influence things in the dream beyond like walling myself off from the rest of it, and having this like very clear idea in my mind that like this is a different consciousness that's like hijacked this dream. And that was just the weirdest thing, because I then spent the rest of the dream just kind of waiting in this bubble until I eventually woke up. And it was like, alright, that was interesting, that was weird. So yeah, definitely inspired by the idea of having some sort of very powerful thing that breaks rules. But it was not Bill. It wasn't like that wasn't like part of the dream. But it's like, oh yeah, it's Bill, clearly. What kind of metal gives you those powers? I don't know. No, my working theory is that like I was maybe having like two parts of my brain like having a dream at the same time. It was just this very weird experience, and that's kind of what I thought. Is like, I think I have my conscious waking mind was aware it was a dream, but my unconscious mind was still controlling the dream. And I think that was what was giving me that sensation of like, all right, something else is controlling the dream, something else is dreaming here, but I am aware of it and experiencing it. And yeah, something like that. It was like, yeah. That is my working theory. But it was just weird. The weird part was how aware I was of what was happening. Because, again, like I said, most dreams that I have nowadays, I don't realize that they're dreams. And I'm, like, perfectly willing to just accept things as they come. And it's just like, yeah, whatever. But this one was different, where I was, like, fully aware it was a dream, fully aware that this was the situation around it. And yeah, I just was like, I basically just have to wait until I wake up normally. I couldn't automatically wake myself up. Interesting experience. Alright, we're up to 7 teacups. That's something. It's a decent start. Also, speaking of medals, today I'm gonna send each of you a, I'm gonna find the section in the rulebook that talks about each medal that you have, and you can read through it and kind of see, in general, the type of stuff that you can do with those abilities. And it's short. Each medal is just like 2 or 3 pages of information. But I realized that I gave you guys all your powers, but then I never actually, like, filled in the details of what you could do with them. Which makes sense, because your characters don't know how to use them yet, and you technically don't have access to them because you haven't ingested any of the medals themselves. But in terms of planning, you can start thinking about it. So there's 2 things with each medal. There's a rating, and that's like a number that you use when you're trying to do stuff with the medal. And then there are stunts, and stunts are like specific actions that you can perform while you're burning your medal. And for starting out with a power, which is what this is counted as, even though technically you just snapped into it after the campaign started, we're still treating it as though it's a power that you've had for a longer period of time. Essentially, you're all prodigies, because usually you wouldn't have a stunt right after determining how to use a power. But to make it work in game terms, you each will have a stunt. But I think you start with like a rating of 5 in the medal, and then 1 stunt from the list. And yeah. And then you can get more stunts. I figured out that's what you use advancements for. So you get like some number of advancements each session, and then when you have certain moments during the campaign that are called long breathers, it's like a period of several days where nothing super important happens, but characters can say that they're doing stuff. During the long breathers, you can spend advancements to get more progress. So like you can raise your power in a medal by 1, or you can gain another stunt, or you can gain a trait. And some of them are like super expensive. You spend like 20 advancements and something crazy happens. But yeah, that's how progression works. Is like in those periods of downtime, you're basically spending advancements to explain like, yes, in this period of time, this is what my character does to gain this new ability. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for the next session. I'm happy with like the details that I've worked out so far. I need to work out more of like the actual specific stuff that's going to happen, but the general setup for where you guys are going and the types of things that you'll be able to do there is, I'm happy with it so far. But yeah, sometime this afternoon or evening, I'll get those sent out. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, in Mistborn, it's like there's no XP, there's no leveling. It's literally just, you know, character growth and then spending these advancements to level up skills and abilities in a more fluid way. Yeah, exactly. It's the whole campaign is very much determined. It's built around storytelling. That's like the main aspect of it. It's not so much about like making your character stronger. Although I mean, like that's part of it, because that's part of telling a story, is seeing how a character progresses. But I mean, honestly, one character's arc could be that they get weaker over time. They get plagued with so many, you know, bad things that happen to them that eventually they just are defeated by that. Which is still a successful story, even though the character dies. That's another really interesting thing about this, is like, you don't need to constantly have the characters win battles and be successful for it to still be a compelling story. It's much more about writing or telling a compelling story than like making your characters gods. Which is definitely interesting. Again, not that they can't reach a very high level of power, but it's not exactly like, that's not where the progression happens. Data. What do you mean, no data? Well, I hope my stream catches up here. Also, I did just find another teacup, so I'll take it. Yeah, it's definitely cool. I like everything so far. The one thing that I'm not totally sure about yet is exactly how combat works. So that's where we'll start the next session, is with like a test combat. There's like a weird thing, and I was reading about it on the subreddit for the game. Someone had a question about the combat, and another person said like they weren't sure that it was exactly the best way to do it. But there's like this weird thing where the person, so you declare actions in an order based on your wits. So the person with the lowest wit score says their action first, all the way up to the person with the highest wit score. And the thought behind that is that the people who have better reaction time get to see what other people are going to do before they have to say what they're going to do. And then the actions are performed based on a different stat, which is how many dice you have in your pool. So if you're like, you know, if it's a physique challenge where you're in combat with each other, the person with the most physique dice gets to do their action first. So it's like you get to you call out what your actions are going to be in order of people who are slowest to respond to fastest to respond. And then you actually perform the actions in order of who is able to do the action the best to the person who is able to do the action the worst. Which is like interesting. I'm curious to see how that actually plays out in terms of balance. I'm not sure why you would really want a high wit score in that case, because yeah, you get to see what everyone is planning to do before you say what you're planning to do, but then you don't necessarily get to do it first. So anyway, we'll see how that works out. It's definitely interesting. Yeah, and I'm really excited with like the specific backstories for each of your characters too, because even though again with this particular campaign it's different from the way that the adventure game would usually be run, because I do have like this pretty clear concept of like these are the major events that are going to happen semi-regardless of the actions you take. You're sort of, it's more linear than a normal Mistborn adventure game, but I like the backstories for all the characters because it makes them way more compelling and interesting, and it's also fun for me because I get to see like how you're going to react to things that I put in your path, and I'm like trying to predict like, oh yeah, these are how this character has this thing in their backstory, so I'm gonna put this character here or something like that. And yeah, I'm excited to see what happens, and it also like shows me just the potential of doing another campaign where I don't have it like, oops, that's not what I want to do. Doing another campaign where I don't have the whole thing planned out ahead of time, because then it would be like able to evolve really in kind of whatever direction, and seeing how the character creation process like kind of forces you to come up with this pretty detailed story about who your character is and what they want to do and accomplish, and just being able to put like so many detailed characters together like that, you start seeing some really interesting motivations and potentially conflicts play out between them. And honestly, because you all went with nobles, it's very possible that the entire campaign will get derailed because of that, and then we'll adapt. But fingers crossed. Fingers crossed that I've come up with enough compelling reasons to keep you guys on track. Because I don't want it to feel like you don't have choices, because you do have choices, and you know, if your characters choose to do things that I haven't anticipated, then that happens and I have to adapt. But I'm hoping that I've come up with enough reasons that are unique to your own characters to still be able to have the events happen that I want to have happen. But it's really interesting to be in this region of the map, because in basically every other dominance in the world, the Ska are just constantly struggling to survive, and that's still true here, but they have a bit more autonomy because it's so far away from society, and specifically because the environment is pretty harsh and they don't have like a very strong military presence there to help out. Like in the book, the way they describe it is that Ska have a bit more autonomy because they're expected to work together with the nobles when really bad stuff happens that's out of everyone's control. And so that kind of like, it sets this interesting setting for a campaign in this world where usually you could never imagine nobles in Ska. It's usually just nobles have all the power, and nobles absolutely still have the majority of the power in this region, but it's more possible to have Ska and nobles working alongside each other, at least in particular scenarios. And I'm also really excited about the powers that each of you ended up with. Because we have pewter, iron, brass? Is that what Asa went with? Did Asa go with brass? And Asium, which is gonna be something. Well, I appreciate hearing that. I think Ace is definitely better than I am, because, I mean, I've never DM'd anything. I don't have any experience with it. So I'm excited to give it a try with this one, and hopefully not. That's kind of my thing, is I have to learn how to find a balance between railroading you guys into the story that I have in mind, and also giving you guys freedom to shape it. The only session that I've ever DM'd was one in a campaign a long time ago where I did like a Stranger Things parody session, and I think it went well, but it was like there were a very specific number of things that people kind of could do, and if they had decided to go off track, I don't know how well I would have been able to adapt to that. So that's gonna be my thing in this whole campaign, is learning how to adapt as we get off track and vary from the things that I have planned and how much I can come up with off the top of my head. But yeah, I think Ace is very good at that. It's like, it seems like he always like has enough background planned out for the world that he can, you know, if we decide to do something random, I can't tell when he's making stuff up versus when he has it prepared. So he's either really, really good at actually keeping us on task with the stuff that he has prepared, but I don't think that we stay on task very well at all. I feel like we have random stuff that we go off and do all the time. So, which makes me inclined to believe that he's really good at adapting to what we want to do as characters and filling out the world around that. But yeah, good powers. I'm excited to see how we each play them out. Yeah. Yeah, because I also don't want to do like, you know, my reason for, because I have ideas for campaigns that I would be interested in DMing, and specifically this one, I've had this idea for a really, really long time, like back before I even read the rule books, I knew kind of what the whole arc was for this story. So that's kind of my problem, is like, I want to DM these very specific campaigns that have a particular story that I want to tell, but I also still want to make it enjoyable for players and give them flexibility and the ability to explore their characters. So, I like how, at least with this first Mistborn thing, it's very clearly like, yes, it's going to be done in X number of sessions. Hello, Patrick Blue. I'm just talking about a random role-playing game. Don't mind me in the background while we're looking for teacups. Anyway, I want to... Octavio Godinez says, does anyone want to battle? I cannot at the moment because I'm hunting for teacups. But if anyone else is interested... Anyway, yeah, with this Mistborn campaign, I'm trying to find ways. I like how the first campaign, I'm just accepting that it's probably gonna be more linear than would be ideal, but other people are welcome to. I think if we did a second campaign, it would be easier to potentially go in more directions. Patrick Blue is hosting Shiny Pikachu. That's cool. Unfortunately, I will not be able to. Basically, as explanation for why I can't battle or do raids, my internet is not good enough for me to both stream and be online in the game. So I can shiny hunt, because I don't have to be online. But as soon as I try to connect to the internet, something is gonna fail. But it sounds like a good opportunity. We did. We found a lot of teacups, and I'm barely paying attention, barely staying focused on what I'm doing. There's another one. What are we at now? 1682? Nice. Pikachu's hidden ability is, I think it's Lightning Rod, right? Static by default. Lightning Rod is the hidden ability. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I haven't done any of these raids yet. I should at least pick up a Raichu, because I do want to have Surge Surfer available. We'll see. We'll see what I have time for. Also, for anyone who doesn't know, there's an event, mystery gift event, that's only today. And I forget exactly what the code is. Let me find... It's on Cerebi. But it's for a competitive shiny Amoonguss. It's the Amoonguss that I want to say a Korean player used to win VGC last year. Yeah, I think it was a Korean player. The code is Trainer's Cup, all one word, except that the I is a 1. Yeah! I have to remember to grab that after the stream, too. Because that's a really cool, honestly, mystery gift for them to do. Yep, that's exactly it, what Patrick put in the chat. Got another Sinistea, very nice. So yeah, that's only active for like the next, I think it ends at sometime tomorrow afternoon. But it's a cool way to do an event of like giving out a famous trainer's Pokemon, like a famous actual player's Pokemon that they used. And another teacup, very nice. Alright, we're finding lots of teacups today, this is good. Amoonguss, it's not broken, it used to be really, really good, and it's still good, it's just, in my experience, it's not as busted as it used to be. The main advantages that Amoonguss has is that it's... we sipping. That's what we say when we're on a teacup streak. The good things that Amoonguss has is it has Rage Powder, which is Follow Me, so that's redirection, also another teacup. And it gets Spore, which is a 100% chance to make the opposing Pokemon fall asleep, unlike Sleep Powder and Hypnosis. It doesn't affect grass types, and it's also blocked by Safety Goggles, but between those two things, it's pretty good. Also, they gave it Pollen Puff this generation, which works as both an attack and a heal for your partner Pokemon. And it's very bulky. It gets the hidden ability Regenerator, so if you switch it out and switch it back in, it recovers up to half of its health. So yeah, hard to get rid of. Also very, very slow, which is a disadvantage in some cases, but if you get Trick Room up, it's going to be super annoying, because it's just going to be able to put your Pokemon to sleep 100% of the time with Spore, as long as your Pokemon isn't a grass type. And, yeah. So yeah, Amoonguss, basically, long story short, it can be very annoying, but I think there's enough stuff that counters it, that it's... Oh god, that's a face. That's one way to... Anyway. Amoonguss, it's definitely not the most used Pokemon right now in the meta, but it still sees a lot of usage. It's still very good. Yeah, I've never built a Trick Room team. I think it would be interesting. My gut reaction when I see a Pokemon, like the thing that I like about specific Pokemon, is being able to go fast and hit hard. And so my strategies tend to be, how can I prevent the opponent from setting up Trick Room? And just focusing all of my efforts on going really, really fast. I guess it's hyper offensive is my playstyle. And I feel like that's probably one of the more basic playstyles. You're just like, yeah, I'm just gonna go as fast as I can and hit as hard as I can. But that doesn't, just because it's kind of a straightforward playstyle, that doesn't make it bad necessarily. It's just not as flexible. Because if they do get Trick Room up, like if they have some way of setting up Trick Room that I haven't accounted for, then it messes with me. I have a hard time adapting to that. Rain Dance Trick Room has happened, yeah. It's definitely possible. You usually don't run Rain Dance the move. You usually just have a Pokemon with Drizzle, like Politoed, to set up Rain. But yeah, setting up, honestly, Trick Room Sun and Trick Room Rain, and Trick Room Sand. I think Trick Room in Weather tends to be a decent go-to strategy. Just because, you know, I don't know. At the same time, I was considering building a Trick Room Sun team, and I realized that one of the big advantages of having Sun is that you have Pokemon with Chlorophyll that double their speed in the Sun. So if you're going to benefit from that aspect of having the Sun up, that's actually a reason why you don't want Trick Room to go up, because you're doubling your speed. And that holds true for Rain as well, because usually for a Rain team, your sweeper is going to be a Pokemon that has Swift Swim, so that your speed is doubled in the rain. Ludicolo Trick Room. See, that's the thing, is that I think Ludicolo gets Swift Swim. I'm pretty sure. So it's actually going to be faster outside of Trick. I think, unless I'm getting confused. Let me look up Ludicolo. But yeah, Connor was building a Rain Trick Room team. I forget if he ever finished it. He had most of the elements in place. It was mostly a Rain team, and then he was starting to kind of add a Trick Room mode. Okay, Ludicolo's, one of its normal abilities is Swift Swim. It's not its hidden ability. So yeah, Ludicolo is one of those that can go fast, but more common is something like Kingdra or Barraskewda to go really, really fast. Specifically Kingdra. Kingdra is the more common thing right now, I think. Counter other Trick Room builds. Yeah, I mean, I think really good teams are gonna have Pokemon with both Tailwind and Trick Room, so that you can outspeed stuff. If you're going up against a slow team that's way slower than yours, you want to have abilities to stop their Trick Room from going up, and vice versa. If you're going up against a really fast team that you're never going to be able to outspeed, you want to have your way of setting up Trick Room. And there's Cheese. Sorry, I got your name there. Not quite yet. I'm going to grab mine after the stream. But yes, everyone remember, grab the Amoonguss. That's why we're talking about competitive battling, because very cool that they are giving away a competitive Pokemon. And it's shiny, of course. So, but yes, PSA, don't forget your shiny Amoonguss. I'm definitely going to grab mine as soon as the stream is done. But yeah, Amoonguss is cool. The most common stuff in the... I think Rillaboom is still at the top right now. I think Rillaboom is still on a third of teams. Which is crazy. I actually haven't played any online ranked battles for a week or two now. I played so much last month that this month I haven't been as invested in trying to get into Master Ball. But yeah, Amoonguss doesn't end up being a huge problem for my team, just because Cinderace. The main things I have to deal with are Rillaboom and Incineroar. And then opposing Cinderace, of course. It's tricky. But yeah, it would be neat if they keep doing mystery gift events like this, where when someone wins a tournament, if they take like one of the cool Pokemon from their team and duplicate it and give it away as a mystery gift, that would be super awesome. Like, is the Players' Cup done now? I actually can't remember if the Players' Cup is still going, if there's still rounds in that. But whoever wins that, they should definitely take one of the Pokemon on that team and do a mystery gift event for it. Because, first of all, it's a good way of getting a really good Pokemon into more people's hands, just making it more accessible. But at the same time, it draws more attention to the competitive side of the game. Isle of Armor ability that breaks counters? Like Urshifu's ability that hits through Protect. Hey, there's a free cup, nice. Urshifu's ability to hit through Protect, a lot of people were concerned it was going to be really, really good, but because it's only on Urshifu and you can expect it, you just know you're just not going to protect in front of Urshifu. The main thing is that Urshifu isn't so good that just... I mean, that ability is very, very good, and they're good Pokemon, but they haven't gotten as much usage as people thought they might get because they have some pretty glaring weaknesses. They have a really low special defense stat, and for the Dark form, it's 4 times weak to Fairy, so any Fairy move is basically going to kill it. And then the Water form doesn't have... It's not 4 times weak to Fairy, but it's still 2 times weak to Fairy. And it's also weak to Electric and Grass and Psychic. And those tend to be special attacks over physical attacks. So, you know, the stuff that hits it super effectively is also tending to hit its weaker defensive stat. So as a result of, like, all those factors, they're just not very... They're very strong offensively, but they're weak defensively. So I haven't seen as many... It hasn't gotten as much usage as people thought they were going to get. And so as a result of that, that ability to hit through Protect hasn't been utilized as much as it could be. But I think it's fine. I think it's okay that it's just on Urshifu, because the restrictions on it are that you have to use a physical attack, or you have to use a contact attack, which is fine because that still lets you use their own signature moves to make contact. Yeah, I think there was some overreaction. It was before we knew their base stats, because it was like, here's a legendary Pokemon that can hit through Protect. And everyone was just like, oh, nice. But because they added this built-in weakness of, like, a very low special defense stat, it's not so broken that there's, you know, you can OHKO it with a number of moves that are pretty common on teams. Like, you don't have to... The big thing is that you don't have to, like, explicitly include an Urshifu counter on your team. Like, that's where it would be broken. A Pokemon is really... You know a Pokemon is good if you have to include something on your team to deal with it. Whereas with Urshifu, you're pretty much going to be able to deal with it just by virtue of, you know, having a decent team put together. You know, as long as you have a strong psychic attack, or a strong electric attack, or a strong grass attack, or a strong fairy attack. Usually a strong fairy attack, which you kind of want on your team anyway. So yeah. Long story short, because the Pokemon itself has weaknesses built into it, it's not broken. There's another teacup. Alright, we're doing well on teacups today. We are finding a lot. And again, when you see an Urshifu, you just know that you can't protect in front of it. And you just accept that, and you have to, like, play so as not to, You just know that, you know, even if it outspeeds you, you should still go for an attack in case it doesn't target you for some reason. I got walloped by an Urshifu, though. It took out my Gmax Cinderace. Because they led Whimsicott Urshifu, and I thought for sure they were going to Tailwind and Gigantamax their Urshifu. But what they did instead was they had Focus Sash on Urshifu, so it lived an attack from my Gmax Cinderace. And I set up Tailwind and Max Airstreamed, and brought it down to 1 hit point. They attacked my Cinderace, took out like half my health, and then their Whimsicott set up Trick Room. I was not expecting them to set up Trick Room. So then, because I had spent the whole first turn increasing my speed, thinking they were also going to be increasing their speed, I was totally faster than them, but they had Trick Room up, so then they were able to sweep me with their Urshifu. That was awkward. That was well played. So yeah, Focus Sash Urshifu tends to get some usage, because that way it can survive a hit and you can have a moment to, like, set up something tricky to do with it. I considered switching out Terrakion on my team for Urshifu, just because Terrakion is... I don't know, I like Terrakion, but it's because Rillaboom is so common, it's so hard to bring it. But if I switch for Urshifu Water, I still, that doesn't help me deal with Rillaboom any better. So, I don't know. The most recent change I had made to my team was I put Misty Terrain on my Whimsicott so I could overwrite the Grassy Terrain. But I haven't played enough games to actually test that out and see how good that is. If that's actually viable. Where was I at when I started today? I was at 1669. Yeah, it has been successful. I think this is our 20th Sinistea, right? I was at 1669, now we're 1689. Yeah. We're doing all right on Sinistea encounters today. Didn't quite hit 1700. I mean, I suppose I've got 7 minutes left. I might still be able to find another 11. But it's not likely. 20 encounters is good enough anyway. Yeah. Knocking them out. And again, at this point, it doesn't really matter whether I run away or knock them out. It's just... Apparently, if I knock one out, it just increases the chances that I'll see another one. Which I think is seeming to be true, because... You know, when I was just running away from every single Sinistea, I was finding around 18 or 19 in a day. Although yesterday was still the exception. We have to keep going with this new strategy for a longer period of time to see exactly how much it increases the number of Sinistea spawns. But it does seem to be helping, at least. So that's cool. Still no shiny Pokemon, though. I am honestly kind of confused. But I've hunted for like another good... It's been 2 weeks since I've seen a shiny Pokemon, so that's like 14 hours. The GIF is working. Yeah, it's the GIF. It's 100% the GIF. But yeah, I feel like I've done at least another 14 hours of shiny hunting, which is kind of a lot. That's a long time to be looking for a shiny Pokemon without seeing any. Then again, we also haven't seen any blue lemurs, so technically we're still winning. I'm excited after getting that Avacyn a couple days ago. I have renewed interest in finally trying to pull my Angel Commander deck together. And I was reading just articles about how to use Archangel Avacyn as your commander. And I don't know why this never occurred to me before, but like, when you flip it, it does damage to each creature, right? And it just does 3 damage. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I guess that could be decent for dealing with a couple of little things. Duh. Give Avacyn Death Touch. That's a board wipe. If you give Avacyn Death Touch somehow, flipping her turns into a free board wipe. Because it does 3 damage to everything, and it has Death Touch. Like, it just didn't click for me before that was a synergy that you could do. Same with Lifelink. I mean, think about that. 3 damage to each creature and each opponent. You're gaining at least, I mean, in a 4-player game of Commander, you're gaining at least 9 health just from hitting the players. And, yeah, anyway. Just, like, I read that and I was like, oh, that's how you use it. I understand now. You could get a whole bunch of life gain from flipping Avacyn, and it works as a board wipe. Yeah, it's really cool. Like, I liked it anyway, but it didn't connect to me that, like, oh yeah, if you find a way to give it lifelink, which you absolutely can just have Lyra on the field. If you have Lyra Dawnbringer on the field, when you flip Avacyn, Avacyn's got lifelink. There you go. You're good to go. And I had always kind of been thinking like, oh yeah, and also that's commander damage that you're doing to each player. When you flip her, each time you flip, you're doing 3 commander damage. But the other thing that I was like, you're never going to kill someone with that. But then I was like, wait, no, Avacyn also has flying and evasion. You can also just hit players. So it all adds up. It does count as red-white. It's a Boros commander. So yeah, it's not, I don't have to do mono white. That's the main reason why I really was excited about Archangel Avacyn, is like, yeah, I can build a Boros deck with it. So yeah, I get access to red spells and red things. Sunbird's Invocation is the main thing that's really good for the deck, because everything has such a high mana cost. And yeah, I can run like Aurelia and other Boros Angels. Another teacup, very nice. Oh! Really? I didn't realize that. I actually thought for sure that it counted. I just thought any damage dealt by a commander. But yeah, I guess that actually does make sense. That's, yeah. Well, whatever, it's still damage, and it does work for lifelink and potentially a board clear too, so. No, I've always wanted to make Avacyn work as a commander. And it's cool that, like, you know, she's got flash and gives all of your creatures indestructible, so you also, I mean, yeah, you have to save mana. You have to keep mana up to actually be able to do that, but you can flash it in and protect your board. Not to mention, even if you don't have have to flash her in to protect your board. You can still just flash her in on someone's end step and then attack with her the next turn, even if you're not getting the indestructible trigger. It's obviously better if you have the mana up to get the indestructible thing. So yeah, there's some cool stuff. Archangel Avacyn. We're talking about magic cards. Yeah, I think Archangel Avacyn is potentially my favorite magic card, mostly because of sentimental reasons. I bought back around Innistrad. It was when we had just started playing Magic. It was like maybe the second or third set that we were playing in. Anyway, it was the first time that I had like looked up a list of the set before like, or I guess I had bought some stuff from Innistrad or Shadow over Innistrad, and anyway, it was the first time that I had actually like, looked up cards in the set and seen what existed, and I saw Avacyn was a thing. And I was like, oh, that's an awesome card. I would really love to open that. That'd be so cool. And Asa had seen Sorin, the Planeswalker from that set. It's Sorin Grim Nemesis. And so we were like, oh man, those cards would be so cool to get. And so I went to Target and I bought 2 packs. Just 2 individual packs, $8. $4 each. And the pack that I opened had Avacyn, and the pack that Asa opened had Sorin. I was like, oh, nice! It was like the 2 cards we were specifically wanting. We just opened from normal packs, bought at Target. It was the best. So anyway, that's why I personally am a huge fan of the Avacyn deck, and have always wanted to build Angel Tribal with it. Cut out of Avacyn, nice. Yeah, I've got 2 copies. I've got the normal one from Shadows, and then in that they did a From the Vault Transform that has like the foil version of Avacyn, and I didn't buy From the Vault, but Zach did, and then I traded him for it. So I have the foil version and the normal version from the actual set. So. Alright, well, I guess I should probably wrap up the stream. You know, I've had so many good encounters today. How many was that? Was that 20... 25? We found 25 Sinistea? I almost want to keep going and just get to 1700. Because I feel like I'm encountering so many, it probably won't take that long to just find another 6. I'll go for another couple minutes and just see how far that gets us. But yeah, no, I think that was the best $8 I've probably ever spent on Magic. It was just crazy because it was like the first time that I was looking for a specific card, where I was like, yes, this is the card that I want. And I opened it in literally the first pack I opened after, like, realizing that it was a card that I wanted. So yeah, I think my plan is kind of to go for a life gain strategy, which, I mean, makes sense, obviously. 1700 is a lot. It'll be... Let's see, I encountered the last Shiny Sinistea at 980 encounters, so that's 720 encounters without seeing another one. Which is annoying, because 980 was way over odds. You know, technically it's supposed to be 1 in 512 right now, right? I'm pretty sure that's what the odds are supposed to be, that I find a Shiny Sinistea. Like, it should happen soon. Technically, the odds are saying that I should have found another Shiny Sinistea by now, even if it wasn't the authentic one. Hey, Justin. How's it going? I'm probably still going to wrap up the stream in a couple minutes here, but I'm just we've had a lot of encounters today, so I'm just looking for... I'll probably stop at one more. I'll end at 1695. I feel like that's a good number of encounters to have. Well, there we go. All right. No, I've got Elira. Yeah, I have. That was another one where I saw Lyra was gonna be in Dominaria, so I, that was like the one card that I really, really wanted, and I ordered my Dominaria bundle, and first pack I opened had Lyra. I was like, nice. I think I ended up with like 3 Lyra Dawnbringers. Finished your doubles team? Nice, congratulations. That's cool. Is it the same one that you sent me in the Showdown replay? Or have you made changes since then? Yeah, same one. Yeah, I think Surge Surfer Raichu with Electric Terrain is actually pretty cool. And Rising Voltage. Like, yeah, those are absolutely... That's a neat setup for a team. Well, considering that I have just found another Sinistea, I'm just gonna go until I hit 1700. We'll just do it. I don't think it'll take that long. I just want to see a pink teacup. I've waited so long. 720 encounters. That's a lot of teacups, with none of them being shiny. Well, okay, there we go. That's the ending. Finally got another Pokemon. Good find right here. Yeah. This is a shiny form that I really like. Do I have any interesting Pokeballs that might look good on this? I'll probably just end up using a regular Pokeball. Ooh, a Moonball might look kind of cool, but chances of catching it with that are not likely. I'm just gonna save all my special Pokeballs. Yeah, I'll just use a regular Pokeball, but I'm gonna Thunder Wave it first. Cool. Good find. Finally, at least seeing another shiny Pokemon, and it's also one that I like. Nice critical capture. It didn't stay in. What? Oh dear. Oh, I hope it can't curse itself twice. This could be a problem. Nice, another critical capture. Just stay in the ball this time, Phantom. Okay, thank you. There we go. That could have been bad. I don't know if Curse lets you actually kill yourself. False Swipe doesn't work on ghost types, though. I have False Swipe on my Mew and my Zacian, but I wouldn't be able to use it on Phantom. All right, nice. Good Phantom right here. What do we name the Phantom? Let's go with my go-to name for these ones is Autumn, but I've already got one named Autumn. So any name suggestions for our shiny Phantom? Leaf Pile. I don't know what to call it. I'll probably just name it Autumn. We can always change it later. Birch. Oh, Birch is a great name. I will name it Birch. And I dropped my controller. All right. Birch the Phantom. Hey, welcome to the team, buddy. Let's just take a quick look. It's quirky. Cool. All right. Add that to the collection. Down here. Nice. Well, Griffin, since you've been here for this whole stream, if you have any interest in the shiny Phantom, I will send it over to you. Because I definitely don't need duplicates. Alright, good to know that shiny Pokemon do exist in the area. And that's definitely one that I like to see. That is a good shiny form. Alright. That was where I was going to end it, but I still kind of want to find 4 more Sinistea. I want to hit 1700. It paid off to keep going, to continue the hunt just a little bit longer. Sounds good. I mean, because that's kind of what my plan has been for if I catch duplicate shinies, is I want to give them away to people in the stream. So if you do want it, you could have first dibs on it. But yeah, if you don't play very much, then I can absolutely save it. Otherwise, because yeah, that's the other thing, is if I catch shinies that people would rather not have, then I can save them up and do a giant giveaway stream someday. If I can save up like 30 shinies from the whole area. But either way, I'm gonna give it away. So if you do want it, I have no problem giving it to you. Even if you don't play very frequently, I'm happy to trade it. Shiny Morgrem is blue. I personally think it does not look very good at all. It's like all of the pink is replaced with blue. Yeah, saving up for a giveaway stream probably is the way to do it, because then I can title Shiny Giveaway. But yeah, no, Shiny Morgrem is blue, and it's a very solid color of blue that just kind of stands out too much, I think, in my opinion. But Shiny Grimmsnarl is fantastic. Shiny Grimmsnarl is, I think, one of the coolest shiny forms. Here, I'll show you. I have both of them. If we go to... yeah, we're already by number. Where is it? Where's Impidimp and... What number are Impidimp and... Huh. Where are they in here? There it is. Okay. Normal Impidimp. Shiny Morgrem. I guess it's not that bad. It doesn't look that bad, honestly. And then we've got the, oops. Shiny Grimmsnarl, which I think Shiny Grimmsnarl is really cool. And then you have Shiny Gigantamax Grimmsnarl, which is like the coolest Titan Pokemon ever. I wish it wasn't so bad. Its G-Max move is not very strong, unfortunately. Or it's strong, but the secondary effect isn't very good. Alright, well, I'm glad that we at least saw another shiny Pokemon. It was about time. Yeah. Yeah, Grimmsnarl is definitely, like, it like recovers that whole evolution line. Like I saw Impidimp and I was like, oh god, that's awful. And I saw Morgrem and I was like, oh, that's really not much better. But Grimmsnarl is like, makes the whole evolution line worth it. Alright, that's another teacup. 3 more. Just gotta find 3 more to get to 1700. And then we'll pick up there tomorrow. Come on, teacups. Yeah, this was a pretty lucky stream. Now, what are the chances that we find another shiny Pokemon before we find 3 more Sinistea? And thank goodness it wasn't a blue lemur. I do appreciate that. Yeah, that was absolutely the first step for starting this hunt, was getting that Zamazenta. Yet another reason I would be happy to give you this Phantom. Alright. That's another Sinistea. Yeah, the day I finished, the day you traded that to me and I finally had the shiny Charm. Nice, 1 more Sinistea. Alright. I think I found my first shiny Shiinotic, like, almost immediately after that. Like, getting the shiny Charm made a huge difference. That was when the first one finally showed up. It was, yeah. Alright, well, there we go. That's our 3 Sinistea. 1700. We're there. We made it. Alright, well, very successful stream right there. Yeah. Cool. Alright, well, I'm gonna hop off then. We'll pick it up again tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching. And have a great Sunday. And I'll see you later.